Shanti. Very welcome to the GoodNight meditation and wish you all a very warm welcome. So today's topic I have chosen is the trustee of the mind. And this is a personal favorite topic because one finds that the subject of mind, yes, it's important, but it's given too much importance. The most important energy is the energy of the soul. And mind is just a spark of that consciousness. Just a faculty of the soul. It's like when the soul inhabits the body, something gets activated. Best way to think about it is that current of energy, when it hits the filament, it creates light. Similarly, when the soul inhabits the body, the mind gets activated and it creates thoughts. But the energy that is most important is the energy of the soul. Normally it's believed thoughts are powerful. And what we learn in Raja Yoga is it's the soul who's the most powerful energy. Thoughts are just the energy of the mind, and mind is the server for the soul. So the soul really does not take input from the mind. The soul is the king who dictates to the mind. Doesn't follow the dictates of the mind. We can think of it as very important to remember, and one really likes this analogy of the mother and the child. If the soul forgets he's the king, it's like a mother who's forgotten that it's the mother. And the child is running wild in 10 different directions, and the mother is feeling helpless, not knowing what to do, feeling tired. So it is time for the soul to wake up again and wake up to know it is the mother of the mind. So it's very intelligent and clever intervention by the soul that he surrenders this mind to God. Because ego will only dissolve when it meets someone higher than itself. And the love of the Supreme Guide, the Supreme Confidant, the Supreme Friend, Supreme Parent, his love dissolves the egoic mind. And nourishes it back to health. And how does that work? When the mind is surrendered to the Supreme, then all the old habits, old nature, everything, when it emerges, the soul is able to keep a distance between itself and the mind, because now he's seeing himself in the mirror of God's heart. God is not judging, and he's not identifying the soul with the mind and the machinations of the mind. He's constantly mirroring the truth, since he is the ocean of truth. So he's constantly seeing the truth of the soul. He's seeing the soul also as the embodiment of truth. And truth is not sometimes the truth and sometimes not. Truth is always the truth. And that is why only God can see that, because he is always in truth. He can separate the soul from its mind. And this is the stage of Sakshi and Sati, that is being detached and combined with the Supreme. This is the starting position in Raj Yoga meditation. And the soul who's detached in the company of the companion, the Supreme One, he can see the activity of the mind, whatever emerges from the mind, from a very powerful space, not identified by the activity of the mind. It's like he lives in that peaceful, calm space with the Supreme Companion in the eye of the storm. Completely peaceful. Mind can bubble up with many things, but he doesn't pay attention. He's vigilant, but very attentive, in the sense not to give importance to those thoughts that the egoic mind is creating, not identifying with them, seeing them for what they are and let them pass by. Because he's eternally the truth. And he doesn't have to believe that storytelling mind. And when he stops believing that storytelling mind, mind stops telling stories. So as a detached observer, he can win over the reactions of the mind. And when he expresses himself the one who is embodiment of peace. He expresses himself in a clean manner without any reaction. It's a huge power to be able to observe the mind from that space of one's highest truth. Then that mind is aligned completely because it has calmed down. None of its false stories are believed anymore. And so now it's under the guidance of the Supreme. The soul now sees what God sees. How does God see this physical world? He sees it truly as a story. Not metaphorically, but truly as a story. And this being of light, the King Soul, he can see his absolute reality, absolute truth that is invisible, that is subtle. His life with the Supreme and the supremely beautiful beings of light. He lives in the essence, the essence that God lives in, always and forever. Keeping two realities separate. The supreme reality of all is godlike, innocent beings of light. And the relationships that they have are based on love, unconditional, unlimited love. The relationships that they have is based on absolute respect for each other, seeing each other as master bestowers, not needing anything from each other. Because each one is completely full, overflowing with godly treasures of peace, of love, of respect, of truth. Each being lovelier than lovely. And right now, they are experiencing completely immersed in this feeling of eternal, imperishable love for each other. This is the family of beings of light, family of angelic stars. All belong to one supreme. This deep sense of belonging with the supreme and with each other allows them to come to this physical world and express these feelings very naturally and normally, regardless of how the scenes play out or how the actors act their act, because they know each other's truth. And they know story as a story, combined with the supreme, knowing they have come to the world of Maya, or the world where ego rules. As was mentioned, they're very intelligent beings. They don't come alone. They come here with the Supreme. And under the canopy of the protection of His vision, they never lose touch with their truth. Yes, the egoic mind shows its variety forms, but as detached observers, they let it all pass. Just like the clouds in the sky. Soul is like that sky with the Supreme Soul. And the clouds are these ideas and these thoughts that the egoic mind creates. But the clouds cannot even scratch the sky. Doesn't matter how dense, how dark, how light they may be, they cannot touch the sky. So these beings play their parts, play their roles, completely anchored in their truth. Knowing each one is playing their imperishable parts, but with such flawlessness, impeccable. Each one has the right to their own paths and their scripts. And this whole world drama becomes a beautiful, entertaining show in the light of truth. So be that light, shine the light, and see the light. This is the mission of the ones who are awake. and in the constant company of the Supreme. Om Shanti. Thank you for joining and creating this time. Have a very good night. Om Shanti.